Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
We must, I'm going to repeat those first two words. We must stop, and we've got to step forward and tell the cancel culture, you're done. You're out of here. We absolutely must save America's history and learn from it and the people that created it. Please, everybody step forward and tell the cancel culture that's enough. Morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by a Patriot. Come on, Patriots, I'm waiting for you. Pledge of Allegiance time. Good morning. And a big, big thank you to Kate Smith. And God bless America. As right now, Zeb at the Ranch, I'm Zeb Bell. Brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations with a very safe, clean environment and the best in tires for you. And along with Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Absolutely. Let's go to the phone line right now and have our Pledge of Allegiance by a Patriot. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We all need to really honor those words. Thank you, Doug. I appreciate it. Talk to you in a little bit. Thank you much. All right. Time for the weather. And the weather brought to you by K&R Rental. I'm telling you, folks, they have got everything over there. I mean, it is a sea of equipment and all the tools and everything at K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 West of Hebron, right there on the Burley-Paul Highway. You couldn't possibly miss it. Absolutely. I mean, if you're into gardening and taking care of your lawn and everything, they've got all the power rakes, all the garden and lawn equipment, rototillers, rip things up, I'll tell you, and the water lines, everything for you. Get over there. Please, Roger and the crew will help you at K&R Rental. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
It's going to be warming up over the next couple of days. Here's a look at your weather forecast for this Wednesday. We are expecting sunny skies and a high of 85. A little bit of a breeze, not too bad. Tonight, nice and clear with a low of 52. Tomorrow, nice and sunny. We are expecting a high of 91 with an overnight low of 60. 94 is what we're looking at for Friday. Then Saturday and Sunday, sunny skies and low 90s. That's a look at your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Ooh, gonna get up there on the old thermometer. Yes, sirree. 63 outside right now. And the weather brought to you by K&R Rental. They've got both long and short-term rental on their tools and equipment, and they've got all the equipment you need, absolutely, to finish any kind of a project. So get a hold of them today. If you want to call first, feel free to do so. Ask questions, 678-3122. K&R Rental on the Burley-Paul Highway. Good morning. And they started a pump outside my back window here in the field next to me. And if you can hear it, it'll be ending hopefully within the next 10 minutes, so stand by. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Oh, these are good people that have been in business for almost 7 decades with all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs. Don't forget, they can help, they will will help. They've got the staff, they've got the efficiency, they've got the experience, they've got it all at Ramsey Heating and Electric. Number to call, 678-0459. They're open 7:30 to 5 Monday through Friday. Ramsey Heating and Electric. You get a hold of them today. One more quick note, and then we're going to start phone calls. And I want to make this about our friends at Dino Septic Service. Just absolutely am impressed with their business and their service to their clients. Absolutely. The absolute utmost of septic tank pumping, liquid waste removal, sewer and sink drain lines clean, backhoe services, all of this and so much more. And they've got brand new equipment over there, like the new innovative cameras to put down and run through the pipes, find out what the problem is. Absolutely. Dino Septic Service, 436-6526 or 678-1638. The best serving you. Dino Septic Service with the big truck that says, smells cargo on the way. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. There's a lot of stories I wanted to lead off with this morning, but this one is just got the hair on the back of my neck standing up, and I am teed off. Another approach with the cancel culture to eliminate almost everything that we hold near and dear to our hearts in our history, our past, our heritage. Now, again, another advancement against our national anthem. Yes, the Los Angeles Times newspaper ran an editorial to get rid of what they call a very racist song, our national anthem. And they want to have it replaced with, and I know you're not going to believe this, I'm not making this up, they want our national anthem replaced with the song called Lean on Me. That was the suggestion that they had. I'm just going to say this first and foremost. I think my audience, all across the board, are absolutely outraged about the replacement factor that's going on in this country, the cancel culture. And when you start messing with Christian monuments and crosses and the Word of God, the Bible, and then you go into our national anthem and the cancellation of our Pledge of Allegiance, I've had enough, and I think it's time, past time, for us, the good people on the right with conservative values of anything, stand up and tell these people you're done. Draw a line in the sand, you're out of Dodge City right there. Caller, good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning, Deb. Well, the sad part about it is that very few people understand how we got the national anthem. It's just not taught in our history anymore. The kids don't have a realization of where we got our national anthem. And, briefly, Francis Scott Key, of course, was negotiating with the British just in 1812 and for the release of exchange of prisoners.
Right.
And he was actually in a sloop, which was like an oversized canoe boat out by the British fleet. So he was watching the bombardment of Fort McHenry. I've seen that flag. It's a huge flag. It's 30 feet by 42. It's in the Smithsonian, which they got in 1909. But here's the bottom line. The Articles of War, if you knock down the enemy's flag, even though you may have had more casualties, you win that battle. And so many dedicated patriot soldiers died putting that flag back up again. It started to rain, so they couldn't keep the big flag up. They put a 17 by 25 foot flag up, Zeb, and when but at dawn's early light, and it got knocked down several times, but at dawn's early light, they got the big flag back up, and this is where we got the national anthem. But what most people don't realize, the flag was being held up by the bodies of dead soldiers, patriots.
Let me jump in. Wait a minute. Let me jump in.
With the flag and dishonor the flag national anthem is played, I have no respect for these people, and they have no respect for the sacrifices down through the ages, not only at Fort McHenry, but all of our soldiers. I actually have a friend that's father carried the flag for the Iwo Jima flag, and so I tell you, Zeb, it's just terrible what's going on.
All right. Thank you. And I appreciate everything you said. And I want to chime in here a little bit. I also have a lot of emotions about what happened at Fort McHenry with our flag and the bombardment that was going on. And Francis Scott Key was given the gift to see what was happening and turn it into our national anthem. A year ago, I was blessed with a very, very dear friend of this program that had been back at Fort McHenry to actually get a flag for me, and gave me a flag that has flown over that site, and it's in my living room in one of my most honored possessions. And to think, when I look at that flag, and I think about the death, and I think about the dismemberment, and I think about the chaos and the bloodshed for this country, and now we've got nincompoops, absolute nincompoops, that are going to try to change and cancel everything in this country, our national anthem, our Pledge of Allegiance, everything. No! We can't let it happen.
Absolutely. We need a lot more patriots need to step forward and stop this nonsense, because our weak-kneed, spineless politicians in many cases are just letting it happen. And it seems like it's almost like it's Trump against the all of this that's going on, because he's not getting a lot of support, and this is really sad.
Absolutely, Adrian. I appreciate your call. I got them stacked up. I got to run.
And I can guarantee you, ever since I was a kid, attending any kind of a sporting event or watching a sporting event, when that national anthem, of course, now today they don't even show the flag if they do play the national anthem.
Yeah.
That's what's really sad.
I got to run. Adrian, I got to run. I'm sorry, but I got calls stacked up. I appreciate your call. Thank you. I got to run. I've got other ones stacked up.
Yeah, but we've got.
Thank you.
Bring our politicians around to support our Constitution, which they're not doing a very good job of.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Great day. Bye.
Caller number 2, I'll be right there, I promise. I've got to get some things in here quickly, and one of which is the Oakley Pioneer Days. Oh, my goodness sakes, what's going on tomorrow night? The big Gymkhana, starting at 6 p.m. It's probably the world's biggest Gymkhana for amateur contestants 16 and under. Oh, it's ripping good. And then on Friday and Saturday night, the open rodeo fireworks, and then, of course, on Saturday, you got a whole bunch of good things going on. Vendors in the park, chuck wagon breakfast, Goose Creek runoff, and then on Saturday, don't forget the big parade. It's going to start a little later this year at 5 p.m., and the theme, Respect the Past, Embrace the Future. All of this and more at the Oakley Pioneer Days for 2020. Don't you miss it. And real fast, caller, please have patience with me. I'm running a little bit late. Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley. Oh, it is true. It's America's Diner with all the greatest of menu choices, breakfast, lunch, dinner, anytime, all the time, all the desserts, great people serving you. And we are going to be over there next Thursday on the 23rd for Zeb's Lunch Bunch. Come join us. Yeah, I bet you we're going to have a good time. Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Morning, Zeb. Your last Adrian was right. The lack of education in our schools about our history and the flag history is really appalling. And it's been going on for more than just the last 10 years or 20 years. It's been going on for quite a while, where they take a little bit of history and they deem it unnecessary. And then it goes right back to the education of the people tearing down these monuments and what they stand for and why they're there. They're uneducated. They don't know what the heck's going on or why they're there. Their history wasn't taught to them. They didn't have to learn it. And in other countries, take Germany, for example. One generation wanted to start tearing down all the things the Nazis put up and the concentration camps and wipe it out of their history. And some of the people that were there at that point in time said, no, we need to keep this stuff to remember it, because if we don't remember it and we don't study our history, we will repeat it, and we won't know what's going on. And that is so very important, that not just the history of the flag, but the history of the United States and the history of the world is very, very important to have in our schools for our younger generations to learn.
I couldn't agree more. What you said and how you said it was very articulately done. But I'm just going to say this in very simplistic form. We, the not-so-vocal majority, had better start standing up and saying enough is enough. We have accepted this garbage from the left. I mean, the knocking down of statues, the absolute destruction of burning and destroying and beating people, and the destruction of churches, burning of churches, the burning of crosses, the knocking down of the Ten Commandments, the knocking down of the statue of the Virgin Mary. And now they want to go after the national anthem. I think, Riley, it's about time we started returning the favor and starting giving some knuckle bumps to the left side that absolutely is part of the cancel culture.
You are very correct. And they call us they call the right, I can't think of the word to say it, but, tolerant. They call us an intolerant, very intolerant. We have been very, very tolerant of their thinking and their ideals for a very, very long time, too long.
We've been tolerant to the point that we have been milquetoast and we've been a doormat. You can't remain a doormat in a society that is building upon its past, yes, even their mistakes, and the future. We can't become a doormat. We've got to stand up and fight back.
Here's what I think, and I got to go because I got to get my daughter taken care of. But the world's turning into a bully. And if you don't stand up to the bully and punch him in the nose and get his attention, he's just going to keep bullying you.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm feeling about this whole situation. If we don't stand up and poke him in the nose and say, we've had enough of your crap, now go sit down, they're going to keep doing it.
Absolutely.
So I got to let you go.
Couldn't agree more. Thank you very much. I have words I just don't even know what to say. I'm so upset about this. How much is enough for these people? Well, there isn't enough. It's like a fire. It keeps consuming more and more. Total devastation. That's what they're after. And some of these people on the left have even come out and said, oh, well, by changing the national anthem, we can create a position of a new kind. Understand these words, please. New kind of patriotism. Really? I'm pretty doggone happy with the old kind of patriotism, of standing up with my hand over my heart for the national anthem, of which I have heard, this isn't bragging, it's a fact, probably more than most people, thousands and thousands and thousands of times all across this United States, and for that matter in Spain and other countries where I have announced various events. I'm proud of that national anthem. I'm extremely proud of this country, and I'm sick and tired of being pushed into a corner by these liberal left loons that want to change everything that is a plus of the United States of America. Caller, good morning.
Good morning, sir. When you don't like a country, when you're not proud of a country, you will not stand up and lay your life down to defend that country. And that's what we're getting. And that's what they want the youth to do.
Yep. Doug, I am not going to apologize for getting this emotional about this. I'm never going to apologize to anybody. I don't believe in apologies that should be given out just at a whim. If you did something really heinous, absolutely, you should say you're sorry and never make that mistake again. I am not going to apologize for calling these people garbage that want to take our country and turn it upside down and destroy it.
No, I wouldn't either. Just think what would have happened in World War II if we had a culture like this that wasn't proud of this country. What would have happened? We would be speaking German or Japanese right now.
That's exactly right. And I am not about to sit back and say, and I think all Americans should really do a gut check right now. Honestly, do a gut check. See how tough you really are. When you have somebody at a coffee shop or maybe after a church service or a city council meeting or whatever the case, come up to you and say, well, I think we should change the national anthem. That's a racist song. Look them in the eye and say, why is it racist? Why? Give me an explanation. Everybody always refers to the third verse of that song. But let's keep in mind, folks, to the brain-dead left especially, all the things that happened 250 years ago were an accepted practice of that time. How dare we go and condemn people 250 years ago for what was going on in the world and what was an accepted practice? You learn from their mistakes, you learn from their errors, and never let it happen again, but we don't condemn them.
Exactly. I heard a story the other day. Somebody was talking about, the Bill of Rights and that, how all men are created equal. But the North and the people that were forming the Union, had they said you could not have slaves, the ones that, didn't want slaves, had they said you couldn't have slaves, we could not have had a Union. They had to compromise. And then what happened when President Lincoln come along? We abolished slavery.
That's right.
White men with white privilege laid their life down to free black men.
I tell you something, we've just got to start sitting back and looking at every issue, and saying enough of this garbage is enough. And I am not opposed. And please, I'm not going to shy away from this. What's going on in this country with takeovers of cities like Seattle, and now Minneapolis has a tent city that they said they won't leave. All of this insurrection and burning and looting and beating and everything else and destruction, it's got to stop. And I really don't give a damn about these people and their lives. If they're in the way right now, we've got to move them out of the way.
Exactly, and it's been said many times by many people, for evil to succeed, good needs to do nothing.
Absolutely. Now, we've got another caller waiting on the line, but I'm going to do something that we're going to have to really go fast, Doug, so help me. We've got 2 tickets to give away to the American Legion Paul Post 77 for the annual German Sausage Breakfast. It's coming up on July 18th in a matter of just a couple of days. It's going to be at the Wilbur Hall on Wayne Street in Paul. Here's the question, and the first person that calls with the right answer, we're going to have the tickets at will call, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Here's the question, callers. The question is on the Dukes of Hazzard. What were the 2 boys' names that ran around in the General Lee? What were the 2 boys' names that ran around in the General Lee? The very first person that calls is going to get these tickets to the German Sausage Breakfast. And here's the caller. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Quickly.
Luke, Duke, and daggnabbit, I had it before you answered. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, we'll wait for the next caller. Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk to you anyway.
All right, well, caller, thank you. And now, what were the 2 boys' names, character names, on the show, the Dukes of Hazzard, that ran around in the car called the General Lee? 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Caller, quickly, you're on the air. Go ahead. Who is this?
AJ?
AJ what? McGuire. All right, well, you're the man. AJ McGuire, you going over to the American Legion Paul Post 77 on Saturday, and you are going to have 2 tickets waiting for you, okay?
Awesome. Love your show, buddy.
All right, thank you very much. Doug, are you going to take care of making sure that man's name has 2 tickets there?
I'll write them on the back of the tickets, and I'll get them over there and give them to the front desk.
Okay. I just want to, before I let you go, I want to reiterate, Doug, this is enough. We, all of us, and I don't care if this is a conservative area or not. I'm heard all over the United States, and for that matter in foreign countries, thanks to this great internet service that we really got a big audience on. We have got to stand up and say not only no, but hell no. I'm swearing this morning, and I'm using words that I normally don't use, but we've got to put a power in our statement that these people cannot take this country down.
Exactly. And the trouble with the social media and the internet, it allows people to say something and not face repercussions like it used to be. When you'd say something and somebody was offended by it, you got punched in the nose. Now you can say it and get away with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Fraudulent statements and lies. Absolutely. I got to run. I'm way backed up.
Let's take care of our senior centers. God bless.
All right, thank you. Caller, I'll be there, I promise. I do not mean to be rude and have you stay on hold. Stand by. Sophie's Chatterbox. Every Monday we give away a dozen cookies to Sophie's Chatterbox at 530 East Street in Rupert, right on the square. What a great restaurant and what a great bakery. My goodness, all the cookies, the pies, the muffins, wedding cakes, birthday cakes, you name it, it's all there at Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert. Also, real fast, I want to remind you about Ritter's Showcase. Woo, they're having a great big indoor tent sale. Indoor tent sale at Ritter's Showcase. And I mean, it's going to be ripping good. 12 months, same as cash available, as well as no credit options available. Whatever your wishes. Don't forget, they've got the best of Whirlpool, Speed Queen, Serta, all of this and more. How about the great deals in the bed department? Minnecache's best sleep center with over 30 beds to choose from at Ritter's Showcase. Indoor tent sale located at 2611 Overland in Burley. Caller, you are on the air. No, you're not. They evidently got sick of waiting, and I apologize. I want you to call back. Sean, do we have another one waiting over there?
No, we don't.
All right, well, calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I will never, as long as I'm on this program, and even afterward, acknowledge any other national anthem except our national anthem, our Pledge of Allegiance, the greatness of this country, the greatness of our flag. There are even those of the liberal loon left that want to change our flag. When are we going to put our foot down? When are you going to stand up with your size whatever, Tony Lama boots or whatever, and just put your foot down and say, enough is enough? It's got to stop. In a beautiful park in Minneapolis, Minnesota, I know this park. I went to college back in Minneapolis. I know Minneapolis very well. Now, over hundreds and hundreds of tents. Listen to this carefully. Hundreds and hundreds of tents and ramshackle-type style buildings like they had in Seattle are going up in this beautiful park in Minneapolis. And they're taking over the park, and they have told the residents, these loony lefts, have told the residents where their homes border this beautiful park, stay out of the park. Stay in your homes. Don't you cross the street. These are absolute garbage, telling residents that live next to this beautiful park they can't take their grandkids over to play in the park. They can't walk their dog. They can't walk themselves in the park. They can't do anything. And they're told to stay out. And these creeps, garbage, are given free food. This is insane to me. They're being given free food and porta potties. It's time to put the snow plows on the city trucks and doze them into the lake. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. What park was that in Minneapolis?
I think it's called Powderhorn Park. It's not the same name that it was when I was going to college back there, but I know the area and I know the park.
Right, because I was on the staff there at the University of Minnesota for 2 years. I think I left the year before you were there at college. So Thank you.
No, wait a minute. Before you go, you, of course, know Minneapolis. You know Minnesota, the state. Why is this happening? Why are we letting this happen?
Turned on, or what's happening?
What's that?
I have to listen to you on the radio because I can't hear you on the phone.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, my question is, why in the world are we allowing this to happen?
Because there's a lot of insane people there, and the people with no backbone that are not standing up to them.
Amen. Thank you for your call. God bless you. Thank you. Can you imagine, though? I mean, come on, just think about this. Let's take it the Rupert Square, or take the park in Burley. And there's a couple of parks in Burley, a couple of very nice parks in Burley. And all of a sudden, the residents that live around the park, they're told, don't you dare set foot in this park. You stay out of this park. It's not going to be healthy for you. And you're a taxpayer and resident, and these left loons are coming in and taking over. How would you respond? This has got to stop. I mean, S-T-O-P, stop. And I do not give a whit as to how it stopped. I do not care for these vermin's welfare, and that's what they are. Coming in, and the conditions are filthy. What they're doing is absolutely against family values, and I'm not going to be more explanatory on the program this morning. And the people that live around there are in fear, many of which have been interviewed, and they said they're afraid to walk outside their front door. They keep their doors locked. They're staying inside. This is not the America that you and I grew up in. Good Lord. And these are the same group of garbage, and I'm going to call them that want to destroy America and our national anthem. Go ahead. Tell me what you think. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget Barry Equipment and Rental Sales Service and Parts, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin with Eli and the Nampa location. And they've got all the equipment and everything you need for the lifting, the digging, the pushing, the carrying, as well as, whatever job, laying sod, leveling, grading. Yep, it's all there. All the Bobcats, all the trenchers, all the scissor lifts, Doosan wheel loaders, excavators, great financing programs to buy, and super lease programs. So you get on in there today. Any one of the three locations, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin, and up in Nampa. I will never apologize for being very emotional about this and very upset. I hope you are too. And I'm not patting myself on the back. Don't take it that way. But if I can stand up and denounce and damn these people, you should too. You should too. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Honestly, look at all that's going on in this country. Look at the complete disrespect for our value system. And then yesterday, I took the time, and I'm sorry I did, I took the time to listen and watch to a very shaky, unstable Joe Biden go up to a press conference podium in a high school gymnasium in Delaware that was empty and come out with his plan on a complete new energy reform. And my wife and I just rolled our eyes at each other. It was that ridiculous. He is absolutely putting all of his marbles in the bag of climate change. And he says it's his big ticket item because climate change is an existential threat. And in 9 years, we're done. Remember almost 20-some-odd years ago when Al Gore said, we've only got this much time and we're all going to burn up and everything? Well, that was a lie, and Al didn't know what he was talking about, which really isn't a news flash. And now Biden comes out and says, we've only got 9 years left. You got to hire me. You've got to vote for me to be president. I can save the world. Here's how he's going to plan to save the world. He's going on to where he's going to have, at a minimum, hold on to your Wranglers, he's going to start with the first day he's in office demanding that 500,000 electrical charging stations will be built immediately. 500,000. And then he said all government vehicles by 2035 will be all electric. And then he said that he absolutely is catering to the energy of green energy for, now listen carefully to this, Black, brown, and Asian communities. I guess us old Caucasians were going to have to figure out what to do. And then he said from day one of his administration, he is going to be building climate-resistant communities. I'd like a little thumbnail sketch as to what that is. Climate-resistant communities. And then the savior of the world, Joe Biden, said that we will rejoin the Paris Climate Accord with our hat in our hands, our heads hung low, and do whatever they want to do, and we'll go along with it, basically is what he said. I'm telling you, folks, when a person comes out and says, the world is going to burn up in 9 years, they are not God, and they're mocking God. All the more reason never to put this man, the Prince of Senility, in as President of the United States. Another reason not to vote Democratic at all. His main henchwoman would be Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She has the IQ of a caterpillar. She didn't even know that crops could be grown in the dirt. I've got the story right here. We talked about it yesterday. And to turn her loose as the ambassador to energy for climate accord and existential threats of climate change, look out. Calls welcome, 436-2244. Please call. I want to hear from you. Give me a jingle. Let's go to the weather real quick. And the weather brought to everybody by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. I'll tell you what, I will hold off on the weather thanks to the call coming in, and I'll just, I'll postpone it for a minute or two. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Deb, it's Earl Worthen. It's time we cull out the feedlot. This handout deal's got to come to a stop, and people got to earn their meal on their own tables.
Amen.
That's what I see needs to be done. I mean, these food banks and that, I think they're being taken advantage of by these people so they can bite the hand that feeds them.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, you've got people lining up to take free. Well, it's not free. Down the road somewhere, somehow, taxpayers and money from the taxpayers' billfolds and money clips went to furnish and furbish those programs. And I'm sick and tired of this attitude of free.
Yeah, there's a lot of blood and bones gone into putting food on a person's table.
You've got that right. And when you have the diminishment of value of our energy system, which would happen with the Democrats, tell me how agriculture is going to exist with all those cutbacks and the shifting away from production of agriculture in this country. How are we going to exist?
We can harness up those freeloaders that's been living off of that power for so long and get a little bit out of them.
I doubt it. Okay, Earl. Hey, man, God bless you. I appreciate it. Take care. I got to do a weather forecast. Thanks a lot.
All my best.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
I tell you what, and like I said earlier, I never apologize for getting upset about these things, because these are issues that are real and they're happening, and they've got to stop. Let's go to the weather forecast, brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And, of course, they're located right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room. And the number to call, write this down, please, 312-0957. That number again, 312-0957. And make an appointment for a hearing screening. They can and they will help your hearing health at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Right now, I'll do the weather and then take that call. Stand by, caller. I'll be there in a minute. Here's Gina with the weather.
It's going to be warming up over the next couple of days. Here's a look at your weather forecast for this Wednesday. We are expecting sunny skies and a high of 85. A little bit of a breeze, not too bad. Tonight, nice and clear with a low of 52. Tomorrow, nice and sunny. We are expecting a high of 91 with an overnight low of 60. 94 is what we're looking at for Friday. Then Saturday and Sunday, sunny skies and low 90s. That's a look at your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
And thank you, Gina. Appreciate that. Brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, where they do all the time provide expert diagnostic testing combined with the best technology for your hearing health. 312-0957, Mount Harrison Audiology. Caller, thank you for your call. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. I just needed to call back on this mask thing, because you breathe out carbon dioxide. But if you wear these masks, and certainly some of them that are just basically really airtight, you're breathing back in carbon dioxide, which is not a replacement for oxygen. And so your oxygen saturation will drop down into the 80s, and it's a dangerous level. We're going to have more people with health issues from wearing masks than we ever have had from COVID-19. It's ludicrous as to what they're doing. If you look up Google health hazards of wearing a mask, you'll find it, folks. And if they're pushing right now that the whole state's going to have to wear a mask. And it's so ludicrous, it's unbelievable.
Well, hold on. Let me jump in here. Number one, I wear a mask when I go into a business for a short period of time. I don't trust people that I'm around. They might be with a cold or whatever. And in these times with my heart condition, I've got to be really careful. So does my wife. I will wear a mask while I'm in that store. Other than that, the minute I walk out that store, it goes off my face. Everything you said is absolutely true. I am not going to subject myself to wearing a mask 7 or 8 hours a day. That just isn't going to happen. They can take their mandate and throw it in the Snake River, because it will not happen with me.
Well, it won't be. And some people, I've got 2 friends that, have asthma and so forth. They wear a mask. I've got one friend particularly puts a mask on. She said for 10 minutes she starts feeling lightheaded.
Yeah.
Just not getting enough oxygen.
And there are varying degrees of quality of mask. I know some are very expensive. Some are very much geared for a resurgence of the oxygen within the mask. Most people can't afford that type of mask. The regular cloth mask, it becomes sweaty and sticky, and it does retain the germs and some of the things that you do not want on a rebreathe situation. I absolutely agree with you. I will wear a mask into a business just to get my business done. When I get outside, it comes off, and that's the way it's going to be.
Well, when I see people wearing a mask driving down the road, I think,
no.
How stupid are they? I mean, I'm sorry. It's just beyond, but we're going to be pushed into this.
No, I'm not going to be pushed into it, because the Constitution, I've read it more than most people, and it doesn't say anything about a mandate on what I wear.
Absolutely. I agree with you, Zeb. You're a fighter, and so am I, and we've got to have more people out there fighting for our freedoms that get the Constitution out and read it, and all this contact tracing that they're proposing and are already doing is a total violation of the Fourth Amendment, and, of course, we still don't have things Our governor has been a dictator, and I'll put that number out again, 334-2100. You can call the governor's office and tell them to stop this nonsense.
All right.
And so it's just ridiculous.
I appreciate your call again. I've got another one.
And it's all about getting rid of Trump and destroy our economy.
All right.
The new world order.
Thanks, Adrian. Appreciate it very much. Thank you. I got another call waiting. Thank you. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Jeb. You know, I wear a mask when I go into the grocery store or into Walmart. The minute I get out, I throw it away. Or I put it somewhere where I'm not wearing it. I think it's ridiculous to wear one all the time. I guess I'm part of the problem. Because I do help the food banks. And I do help the senior center. And, you know, I'm proud to do it because I know that people are needy. I've gone into homes when I sold real estate, and I've seen empty cupboards. I know one time one woman asked me if I peeled her potato for her, and I peeled her potato, and I looked around, and there was no other food there, nothing.
Yeah.
The refrigerator was empty. The cupboards were empty. There was nothing. And I'll help people like that. I just can't not do it. There's people that just don't have. It's too bad, but...
Well, I agree with you. We're a little off topic. We're a little off topic on this, but I do appreciate and respect your remarks.
There's somebody starving to help them.
Absolutely. Jerry, thank you very much for your contributions and all the help you've done in the community. Appreciate it. Thank you. I got to run and get another commercial on. Thank you, very much, Jerry. I appreciate it. Right now, let's talk about our Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with the best of tires for summertime travel. You got to get out of Dodge City. I mean, you got to get out of town. You got to go to Grandma's. You got to go see Aunt Martha and Uncle Fred. So be it. Do it. Do it. Enjoy life. Don't be confined by government. Oh, I'm not going to tie politics into an ad. I'm just going to say get out of town and enjoy, and make sure you drive on the safest of tires from your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All the different tread designs, all the different tire sizes, everything for your cars, pickups, SUVs, horse trailers, boat trailers, whatever. You make sure you stop in and see these great folks today. They know tires. They know brakes, front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, and the best of service to you. James and Buell, Dan on Pole Line, Lane and Rupert, Mike and Jerome, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin Falls, the Twist family and Paul, and Trent on Overland and Burley. They are there to serve you. Please remember the 7 locations of your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. You know, something that really is disconcerting is the falsification of the numbers of coronavirus. The Chinese coronavirus, I'm not going to be politically correct, came from China, and have so much hatred for the way that this thing had to spread across the world. Well, in Florida, listen to this. There were reports in a couple of areas, big city areas, of a 98% increase in cases of coronavirus. 98%. Wait a minute. Hold on. When they actually rechecked the numbers, when they rechecked the numbers, they found out the increase was 9.4%. This is insane. And in test positive cases, the numbers were actually only up 6%, not as reported as 76% increase. I'm not making this up. And I'm just going to submit to you before we run out of here and gallop to the news from CBS that I'm thinking these inflated numbers and the scaremongering and everything else is absolutely politically motivated. Oh, you're going to sit back and go, oh, Zeb, why, you're a crazy right-winger. Well, look at the proof. How can you go from 94 or 98% and when the truth is told, go back down to 9.4%? And how can you go from 6% and inflate the numbers to 76%? Go figure. Right now, we're going to listen to the big boys from CBS come in and mess everything up. We'll be back in about 7 minutes. Zeb at the Ranch, don't go away. Thank you for tuning in or staying with us at Zeb at the Ranch on this Wednesday, July 15th. Tax Day, if you're not aware of it. Yeah, this is the new tax day because of the elongation of the taxing from the original deadline and the coronavirus, the Chinese virus, and all the disruption and everything. Today is the day. Don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, serving you with the best of a safe, clean environment and the best in tires. All 7 locations. Our major sponsor right here on Zeb at the Ranch. And, of course, our friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Sean, could we please have a good word for Western Waste?
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're all at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal.
Western Waste Services, don't forget all the dumpsters in various sizes. You call them up on the telephone, you say, I got to clean out the basement, or I've got to clean out the attic or the upstairs before fall. I need a dumpster. They'll be there. Drop one off, you fill it up, they'll come and get it. Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call the number 734-6969, Western Waste Services. Want to also give a great big shout out and a thank you for all the years of being on our program and all the years of serving you and your family. Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert. It goes without saying that the gentleman that heads up the operation over there to serve other people, Joel Heward, absolutely, Joel Heward, his family and his staff, very, very helpful with flexible hours to better serve families with the best possible support and comfort, and always upholding the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert. Telephone number to call, 436-5636, 436-5636. And don't forget, too, Joel Heward serving you and your family at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Really nice people. Again, if you're aching and paining and recuperating from a surgery or an accident, do not forget our friends. And believe me, they've helped me. Our folks at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Deanna and I both were in there the other day. She's got some problems with her neck, and I'm telling you what, Nick Greenwell and his staff, they are excellent physical therapists with all the exercises, the use of the hydrotherapy pool. They want you to get back to being you. Absolutely. Call them. Make an appointment. 678-1191. And they're located again at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Right now, we're going to go to the phone line. And I'm going to utilize his friendship to calm me down on a morning when I'm mad as an enraged bumblebee right now. Dave Bego, Indianapolis, Indiana, how are you?
I'm really tired and pretty quiet today, so I'll try and get you as a bumblebee to settle down.
All right, well, I'm going to tell you what, you might end up just on my side of the coin here. Dave, simply put, this cancel culture has got to stop. It's got to be poked in the nose, and it's got to be thwarted. They've gone from the statues and the burning of churches and now to taking down the Ten Commandments and statues of the Virgin Mary and absolutely vilifying God and the Bible. And now they came out yesterday with a great big op-ed in the LA Times about the replacement of our national anthem. I've had it. I'm not going to apologize. We've got to stop this garbage.
Yeah, we do, Zeb. And the big thing about this is it's coming from all the large major Democratic cities across the country, and then states like California that are being controlled by the unions and Soros and that, and they're trying to get the rest of the people. But I have to tell you, Zeb, I played in a golf tournament yesterday, and that's why I'm so tired today. It was a long day. But I got to talk to a lot of younger people that were working there and other people that were in the tournament and stuff like that. And when I talked to them about what's going on in that, they understood, and they're against this kind of stuff. So, even though the left is really trying to brainwash people across the country, there's still a lot of people that understand what's going on, and they're standing up. And I hope that Trump is very professional and gets out and really meets people and talks to them in a good way and gets them on his side.
Yeah,
I think he will.
But it's not just, don't put the onus just on Donald Trump. No, that's not right. We need to take charge of this situation. And over at the station, Sean, I've got just a wee bit of feedback here, if you could help me out just a little bit. We, the people, need to take charge of this, Dave. We can't allow this to happen. The destroying of monuments, the destroying of Christianity, they came right out and said, even old Howard Dean. Remember him, Howard the Duck Dean? He came out and said all Christians are haters and stirs people up against Christianity. It's we the people that have to take charge. Yes, Donald Trump's important, but we've got to take this country back.
We do. There's no doubt about it, Zeb, and I've talked about that before, that everybody needs to stand up and have a backbone and don't let these people run us over, and they've got to get the politicians in our state to have a backbone and, cancel this stuff and take legal action against these people that are destroying things, which, in true reality is a crime.
Well, why isn't it a crime? I mean, look what they did to Seattle. And I really don't think hardly anybody was slapped on the wrist over there at all. They should have been pushed and bulldozed right into the ocean. And now the same semblance of taking over land is happening in a park in Minneapolis where hundreds and hundreds of tents by these loony left residents are taking up residency in the park, and they're telling the people that live around the park, you stay out of here or else. I'm telling you, Dave, this anarchy has got to be put down.
Well, I agree, Zeb, but, the places you're talking about, Seattle and Minneapolis, and, of course, in Los Angeles and in New York City and that, these are extremely left positions. Again, the union that I fought, SEIU, is huge in all these cities, in the same way in St. Louis where the guy and his wife had their guns taken away. And, it's... And that's what they're doing in these cities where they have control. But the people in those cities need to stand up and push back against the mayors and the governors and everybody else.
I want to talk to you a little bit about that situation in St. Louis. I dare say, and I know you very well, that if it was your property and it was a gated property, private fence, etc., torn down, kicked in, and all of a sudden while you and your lovely wife are enjoying a brunch on your patio, over 150 mobsters with Black Lives Matter are shouting at you, saying they're going to burn your home, kill you and your dog and everything else, and you're fearing for your life and your property, I dare say that you would do the same as Mr. McCloskey did.
Oh, absolutely. You got to do those things, and you got to stand up to these people. At the same time, I'd be calling the police and, not just the local police, but the the sheriffs and state police and everybody else, and tell them, you need to get in here and stop this now. And because you got to go after these people, and you got to expose them. And when you expose them, they tend to back down. And that's what I found out as I went through that process.
Yeah, tend to back down. I agree with that. They tend to back down. But in this situation, you've got a black prosecuting attorney in St. Louis that is hell-bent to go after the McCloskeys. She, and it's found out, was supported by major funding to get her position by the Soros Foundation. She absolutely hates the Second Amendment, and she's going to do all she can to vilify this husband and wife.
Yeah, and again, and Soros and the SEIU, because they kind of go hand in hand in all this stuff, and they're big in St. Louis. And, wherever they can, they're going to push this kind of stuff and go after their agenda, gun control and, everything else. And we just, again, I'm glad that that guy and his wife, who are both attorneys, stood up and had some backbone, and they're still going to stand up, and that's great.
I would say this, and I did say it first hour. And again, Sean, there's still a little feedback with my voice coming back down my hearing in my headsets. If you could back that down just a little bit, please. It's not going on the air. But I would say this, it's time to put the snowplows back on the trucks and just literally get at one end of that park in Minneapolis and just doze everything off. I'm serious. Doze it right into the lake. These people do not belong there, and they're hurting and complicating the lives for people that are honest, God-fearing taxpayers.
Yeah, it's sad, but it won't happen because, again, as I said, Minneapolis is a kind of a radical city, and they're not going to do anything like that. And I don't think I'd use a snowplow. I'd just get the National Guard out there and get these people out of there.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%, but it has to be done. You cannot sit there and let this elongate into another Seattle with the CHOP or the Chaz or whatever they want to call it. The longer they're there, the more danger and hazard is going to be afforded to the residents that live there.
Yeah, I agree, Zeb, and it's unfortunate. And here's the problem, even with Biden, he was not as far left as the other candidates in that, but the left is getting him to go. They're pushing him further and further left, and they're doing the same thing with these Democratic mayors and governors and stuff like that. Who are more in the middle, and because they're really going after them. Plus, here's the other thing they're doing, Zeb. They're pouring a lot of money into the election process for the Democratic Party, saying we're going to get you reelected, or that you do what we tell you to do. And that's part of what the problem is that we're seeing going on here right now. And, Biden's come out with huge tax hikes that would be really severe. And he just unveiled a $2 trillion plan to combat climate change. Which, these are things that are the part of the left's agenda. And on top of that, in the left, they want to bring this country down and make it into a communist, socialist society. Biden just came out, I think it was yesterday, and quoted the communist mass murderer Mao Zedong fundraiser was a good guy. Yeah. And, this guy's a communist. And, these are the things is that Biden, he's just going to be a fixture. He's going to be controlled by the left if he gets elected.
Absolutely. I want to go in point by point to some of the issues that he addressed in a speech yesterday that I found to be hard to listen to and even harder to watch. Joe Biden standing at that podium, very weak, very shaky, and absolutely ridiculous. He came out with these, and I'm going to give you these points, and I want you to address them. He said that we are only 9 years from total devastation. We're all going to burn up if we don't address climate change. And then he said that they are going to start on day one of his presidency with over 500,000 new electrical charging stations. He said all government vehicles will be electric by 2035. He said that from day one, he is going to start building climate-resistant communities, whichever that is. And he also said he's going to rejoin with his hat in his hand and his head hung low the Paris Climate Accord and basically ask for forgiveness and let them run us. I mean, this was insanity.
Zeb, I agree with you 100%. And, you think about it, as he was running for the presidential candidate, he didn't really talk about this stuff this much. But now that he's been chosen, the left is really controlling him and telling him what to say when he gets up there and speaks. And they're going to continue this, and this is going to get worse as we move closer to the election.
Do you think that the general public right now today, 3.5 months from the election, is understanding and seeing through this Western false front building that Biden and the Democrats have put up? Are they going to see through and see the truth, or are they going to unwittingly vote for that man?
I think they're seeing through it, and I think that we're going to see a lot of them do the right things in voting for America and that. But we have to, all of us have to get out there and we have to talk to people and expose this stuff that's wrong and what's going on and what they're doing and what their real agenda is out there. And I was actually at a place over the weekend, and I was talking to these ladies, and I was going through this, and I told them about my book and that, and they go, "Oh, wow, that's just unbelievable what these people are trying to do." And I said, "Yes, it is." And I said, "I hope you've realized that." And they said, "Yeah, we understood it, but we appreciate you saying even telling us even more. And we're going to stand up." And these are good things, and this is what we got to do across the country. People that understand how bad this is and what the agenda is of the left of bringing down this country is standing up and telling other people and having conversations with them and, getting out and visiting and stuff like that. So we wake up America.
Dave, we've got to get our schools open this fall. I don't know what your thoughts are. You and I really haven't talked about this that much. But I absolutely maintain, and I'm going to remain absolutely firm on the statement that schools have got to open up in mid-August or the 1st of September, whatever. Our kids need to get back into an educated society. What are your thoughts?
Well, I agree with you 100%. We got to get them opened back up, and it's important for these kids to get back to school and learn, and it's important for people to get out and all their businesses to open up, and people get back out and get back to working into life and that. And but as we've had a little bit of a spike in this COVID-19, a lot of places. I just got an article today where Walmart. All their stores across the country and their Sam's Club stores are going to require masks. Mm-hmm. Nobody can walk in without one.
Well, and then the distortion of the numbers right there falls. And again, Sean, please help me. The feedback coming down the line is way too hard. I can hardly hear myself, let alone Dave, please. The numbers have been completely distorted. In Florida, they said that there were reports of a 98% increase of cases. When they checked the numbers, they go, oops, actually it was only 9.4%. I mean, this is ludicrous, and I honestly feel there's a political overtone there.
Well, Zeb, it's like I've told many times on your show, the media is controlled behind the scenes by the unions in that, and they're going to force them to put out numbers and that try and make this president look bad and try and bring this country down.
Absolutely. We've got a caller with a question or a comment. Caller, please, you're on the air, please.
Yes, my question is, maybe you can answer this. What's going to keep us from getting this election stolen from us this upcoming year from Donald Trump? Because I really honestly think he will win the vote. But what's going to stop the left and the Joe Biden crew or camp or whoever to steal the election, pull ballots out of a parked car in a parking garage. You know, I mean, what's going to protect us? What's going to help us?
You know, Riley, I absolutely agree with everything you said. My concerns are yours. Dave, respond to the caller, please.
Well, yeah, we always concern about these things, and we've had it in the past. And, you know, as I mentioned in one of my blogs, back in, I'm trying to remember what election it was, but like in Nevada, I had SEIU people, members, tell me that, you know, they were forced into buses and had to go in and put their ballots in, paper ballots in, by the SEIU because they were the ones at the polls, and they told them who to vote for and how to do it and all that, and forced them to do it, and then put them in the bus and took them back home. And we're going to see this kind of stuff in these mail-in ballots. You know, they're going to get into this stuff, and I think, you know, the Republican Party and good people need to go out and watch for these election frauds that are going on. And if they find them, they got to throw them away.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Dave, time goes too fast. I always look forward to Wednesdays of having you on the program. You're a straight shooter, a dear friend, author, great businessman. I don't know how your golf game is, but I guess we could brag about that more if you want me to. But I hope you have a great day. Go sip a glass of wine at 4 o'clock this afternoon. I'll have one, and we'll pretend that we're sitting there at the same table.
Sounds good. You have a great day, Zeb.
All right, Dave. Thank you very much. Dave Bigo, Indianapolis, Indiana, and a dear friend of this program. I really appreciate him. I want to remind you about Denny's Restaurant. Oh, my. Denny's Restaurant at 611 North Overland in Burley, America's Diner. And they've got another location for you at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. I mean, great food, great menu choices, really, really nice people serving you, Thomas and Michelle. I mean, we couldn't have better people. And, of course, it's the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch, and we're going to be over there next Thursday, the 23rd, at Denny's Restaurant. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, anytime, all the time, all the desserts. Oh, yeah, great food. Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner, 611 North Overland in Burley. You know, all of us need to just get out and enjoy the great nature that we have here in southern Idaho. I mean, the weather, the sun, the mountains, everything. How about getting on a side-by-side or a four-wheeler from Let's Ride? Get out. Get your motor running at Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. Number to call, these great, great folks over there. And I'm so thankful they introduced me to having four-wheelers. What now? It's been almost 10 years ago. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, 436-4771. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 2. And they've got all the accessories. And don't forget to, great service department to keep you running. Good folks, great folks serving you. Let's Ride, where the fun is sold. Absolutely. And while you're over there in that neck of the desert, don't forget our friends at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. I mean, Todd and the rest of the outfit are committed to serving you, very devoted and dedicated to making sure you have the best of life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, everything for you, your family, and your business. I urge you to call and set up an appointment at 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance in Rupert, serving you. Really nice folks. In just a moment, we're going to be talking to the old B-Man, and that's Steve Staley is going to be on the program with us, talking about the great big Oakley Pioneer Days. Stand by for that. And while we have just a moment, I also want to mention to you about some of the merchants that are inviting you up to Oakley for their great big Pioneer Days, and they include Clark's for Shopping. Wonderful people. They've been in business since 1924, and they've got that famous breakfast sausage from Grandma's recipe in bulk patties or links. It's good. It's good. And Clark's for Shopping invite you to come on up to Oakley Pioneer Days, along with Oakley Valley Stone, They're located at 204 West Main Street in Oakley. And if you're looking for stone for a new fireplace, a headstone for a loved one, landscaping boulders, whatever, look no further than Oakley Valley Stone. Give them a call, and they ask you to come on up and have fun at the 133-year anniversary of Oakley Pioneer Days. Smith's Cafe, you are not going to leave there hungry. 135 East Main in Oakley. They're open Tuesday through Saturdays, 8 a.m. until all the customers are walking out the door with a great big smile on their face and great food in their tummy. I'm telling you, great food at Smith's Cafe, telling you to come on up to Oakley for Pioneer Days. And last but not least, Scott Bedke, Speaker of the House and a rancher up in Oakley, and his family, they invite you to the 133 years celebration of a great family Western tradition, and that's Oakley Pioneer Days. You stop up this week. Well, with all that being said, we're going to go to the phone line right now and say good morning to Steve Staley. How are you, Steve?
Good morning, Zeb. I'm doing well. How are you?
What's your official title at Oakley Pioneer Days?
I am an Oakley vigilante.
Oh, okay. That sounds kind of ominous.
I was lucky enough to speak with you and do a lot of the media advertising, radio advertising, stuff like that.
Let me ask you.
I've got a little bit of that in my background. They've asked me to take on that duty.
Okay.
And I am glad to do that. I help out with the car races and the Gymkhana and the open rodeo. I do, when I can, it's all volunteer. All the vigilantes are volunteer. When I can, I make it to the events that we have, and we maintain the rodeo grounds. We try to do community events and put funds that our non-for-profit organization raises back into our community. And my wife is also a vigilante, Betty Jo. She's our treasurer secretary, and she really she's the one that makes the wheels turn for a lot of the organization. I think I say that, and any of the vigilantes that are listening are nodding their heads right now. But it's a big effort to put all this stuff on, and we're happy to do it to give back to our community and keep this tradition going for hopefully generations to come.
Let me ask you this, Stephen. I don't think I've really ever done an interview with members of the Oakley Vigilantes and really gone back into the history of the Vigilantes. When did they take over this event? Was it from the inception, or a little history about the Vigilantes themselves? Tell us about that.
Well, I'll be honest with you, Zeb. I'm not really one to know about Oakley vigilante history, but as far as I know, they are the ones that began the events 100 and some years ago, 133 years ago, if I remember correctly. I think there was 1 year that we did not have it, but other than that, it's, like I said, it's been mostly cowboys, ranchers from the area that wanted to put on an event, rodeo, as far as I know, and there's been a lot of different events that have come and gone over the years, and it's mainly for the community, and the word vigilante, I mean, most of us know the definition of it out there, and we're members of the community that are looking out for the community, and we're trying to rebuild that name and have been working really hard at doing that for the last few years.
Is the organization growing? Is it at a status quo? Is it being minimized? What's the popularity of belonging to the Vigilantes?
Well, you know, there's a lot of people. Oakley's a fairly small community. We have approximately 800 people that live in town. I'd say the surrounding area, there's, a little over 1,000, and it's kind of a little hidden gem out here in southern Idaho. And most people, we're at the end of the road. Most people that aren't from the area couldn't find us if they tried. But it's becoming the last of a dying breed, it seems like to me. We have a lot of people that have done it. They have volunteered. They have spent their time, and there are very few people that are my age that are interested in being active in such things. And where we all live really busy lives these days, it's hard to get people to commit to come out and volunteer their time, particularly for these events, like where we have our Bump and Rub, where we had it last Friday and Saturday. There's a lot of people that came out and watched the car races.
Mm-hmm.
They're wanting to spend that time with their family rather than being out there behind the scenes and making the stuff happen. And the same goes for, a lot of the other events that we work on. We help out with the high school rodeos. Those are, it's hard to get guys out to the arena to help out with that, because usually when that's going on, there's a lot going on with farming, and it's difficult to get people away from their busy lives to come and help us continue these events. So over the years, it's been tough. We're looking for volunteers, particularly people that are local, we're branching out. We've got people that are from Southwest Burley area that are starting to come in and help us with a lot of our stuff. It's just becoming difficult with as busy as everyone is.
Let me ask you real quick, and then I want to get into the litany of the events. And how did the Bump and Rub go? I mean, it must have been exciting again this year.
It was. We had a bunch of cars, the most cars that I've ever seen, and I couldn't tell you the number, but I want to say close to 30. The competitors were great. We had a lot of really good competition that went on out there. The track was wonderful. The stands were packed both Friday and Saturday night, and it was in the years that I've been part of the board, and I live just across the canal from the rodeo grounds, and I can see what's going on over there. I think that we had the busiest weekend as far as the Bump and Rub is concerned that we've ever had.
Well, that is great. Now, let's proceed to what's coming up this week. What is happening? Let's go right from today all the way through Saturday. Give us kind of a calendar of events.
Okay, so Thursday, and that's July 16th at 6 p.m., we're having our Gymkhana. That's a kids' rodeo, and that is one of the biggest kids' rodeos in the area. It's open to amateur contestants 16 and under. We've already had our sign-ups for that, so if you missed it, I'm sorry. Hopefully next year, put it on your calendar that we have it every year. But there's going to be limit calf riding, sheep riding, poles, barrels, roping events, mutton busting, calf riding, bull riding, all amateur contestants 16 and under. It's really a good time to come out and watch these kids and watch the future of what our ranching and our agriculture. These kids are tough, and they get knocked off of the calves and the sheep and the bulls, and they get right back up.
Absolutely.
And usually want to do it again.
Absolutely. Steve, we've got a caller with a question or a comment. Caller, quickly, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yes, how are we keeping people safe from the coronavirus during this deal? How are we making sure that it doesn't spread at these events?
All right, well, I'll have Steve answer that. Go ahead, Steve, please.
That's a great question. We have our social distancing guidelines in effect. We've got a lot of people, it seemed like, when I was looking across the stands, that were sitting in groups, and they're spacing out. We have hand wash stations. We have hand sanitizer that's up. One thing that we're doing with our cook shack is people that come in and work at the cook shack are having their temperatures taken before they come in. They're using hand sanitizer while they're cleaning stuff, and while they're working in there. So we're doing our best to make sure that we're taking care of the people that are serving, and we have the stuff out there that's basically when people come in, they've come into the event, and we have the stuff there. We can't force them to use it. We're not issuing masks. People come in. And I'll be honest with you, Zeb, I didn't see one person up there with a mask on. And you get out in a lot of areas in southern Idaho, and you don't see a whole lot of people with masks on. So
I agree. We've only got about 7 minutes left, and I want to go through everything, and I want to highlight right now Friday and Saturday, the open rodeo. Real fast, Steve, take us through the rest of the list.
All right, so Friday and Saturday night starting at 7 p.m. is our open rodeo. Our announcer this year, and has been the last few years, is Cade Rogie. He does an excellent job. We have Patriot Night, and I believe that's Friday night. That's free admission to all veterans and active duty military members. Friday and Saturday, we have stock saddle bronc riding, 10 per night, limited to 20 entries. We have wild cow riding, $80 per team. If you'd like to get in on that, and I'm telling you, this is wild cow riding, and it's quite spectacular to watch. On Saturday night, contact Cash Taylor, and his number is 208-430-2479. Tickets to get into this event are $8 for adults, $65 plus, and 4 to 10 are $5. 3 and under are always free. Our stock contractor is Hogan Rodeo Company, and if you'd like to get in on any of the open rodeo events, please contact Wade Durham. His phone number is 406-581-7223.
Okay.
We also have our fireworks being shot off on Saturday night, and that is immediately after the rodeo. We have a lot of other stuff going on after that, so I don't know if you want me to run right into that, Zeb.
Well, let's kind of highlight some of the features. Once they're out at the rodeo grounds, they'll hear about the live entertainment, the dancing, and everything else. But I want to take some time real quick before I run out of time about Saturday the 18th, and I want you to give us a complete rundown of what's going to take place on Saturday.
Okay, so Saturday we have vendors in the park. We have a chuck wagon breakfast, and that's sponsored by the Oakley Booster Club. That's from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. at the Oakley City Park. It's an adult plate for $7 or $40 for a family of 6. You may pay with a debit card. We have the Goose Creek Runoff. That's a 10K, 5K, and kids race. For more information on that, you can go to goosecreekrunoff.com. We have the Pioneer Day Parade. It's the name or our theme this year is Respect the Past, Embrace the Future. That starts at 5 p.m. It's been in the morning for the last few years, or in the later morning, but it is at 5 p.m. The lineup starts at 4 p.m. If you're interested in getting in on that, contact Buffy Cooper at 208-300-0959 or Debbie Critchfield at 208-431-6414. Grand Marshals this year are Mae Thompson and Kathy Stanger. Honored Pioneers, Jimmy Hunter, Joe and Gwen Beck, Gary and Susan Lloyd, Dean Simmons, Rosemarie Palmer, and Marvin Blacker. We also have an ice cream social going on at the Oakley City Park. That is free to the public. That is from 2 to 4 p.m. We've got a lot of stuff going on Saturday.
Absolutely. You know, Steve, you have been so eloquent and articulate about everything that's going on up at Oakley. And I want to tell you, and I mean this, to events like yours that just stuck their chin out and they said, we're going to go ahead and keep the tradition and the heritage alive. We're going to do all we can humanly possible to keep people safe and yet be able to enjoy Pioneer Days. I want to salute you and thank you for your committee, the Oakley Vigilantes, and going ahead with the 2020 activities.
Absolutely, Zeb. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. And, you know, it's been tough. I'll give you a little bit of information there. Usually it takes us about 3 months to put all this together. We were told to put it together, and we had 5 weeks.
Oh, my.
About halfway through that, it was really questionable as to whether or not we were still going forward with it or not. So, I mean, all this has been put together really quick. It flows, we make it happen, and we're glad that people came out on Friday and Saturday night, and we look forward to seeing them back out on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night for our Gymkhana and our open rodeo.
Absolutely. People cannot live in a bubble, nor should they, and life goes on. Thank you. Steve, any final thoughts on Oakley Pioneer Days? Real quick, I got about 30 seconds.
We look forward to seeing everyone out here. You know, take the safety precautions that you need to before you come out and before you go anywhere. And, you know, God bless everyone, and thanks for making 2020 the best we can.
All right, Steve Staley with the Oakley Pioneer Days. God bless you, man. Thanks. Have a great weekend. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Zeb.
All right, sir. Oakley Pioneer Days. I mean, man, oh, man. They have a lot of fun. Deservedly, they have a lot of fun up there in Oakley, and they invite you to come on up. Absolutely. Don't forget our friends at Patterson's Electronics, 421 East Main in Burley. Curtis and Lorena, they know all about all things electronic. I mean, boy, you're not talking to the guru of electronics here. No. They are. And you call them about all your electronic needs, whether it's home theater systems, video surveillance cameras, car stereos and speakers, complete sound systems, all your televisions, your TVs, all your audio systems. Oh, boy, they know all about it. And they're such nice people. They're open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6. Patterson's Electronics, 421 East Main in Burley. You get a hold of them today. I think we better have a weather forecast on here. I'm finally fairly close to being on time today. First time all week. And the weather brought to you by the professionals. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. I know these people, and they live up to their name, the professionals, providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. Absolutely the best of tax return preparation, tax planning, business consulting, retirement planning, all of this and so much more, with 2 offices to serve you, one at 1710 Overland Avenue in Burley, the other at 620 5th Street in Rupert. Don't forget the professionals, Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
It's going to be warming up over the next couple of days. Here's a look at your weather forecast for this Wednesday. We are expecting sunny skies and a high of 85. A little bit of a breeze, not too bad. Tonight, nice and clear with a low of 52. Tomorrow, nice and sunny. We are expecting a high of 91 with an overnight low of 60. 94 is what we're looking at for Friday. Then Saturday and Sunday, sunny skies and low 90s. That's a look at your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Gina, thank you, and nice to have you back today. Thank you very much. Our weather brought to you by Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. As I said, providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. They are the professionals with offices in Burley and Rupert. All right, I've got time for a call or two. I really would appreciate it. Give me a jingle on the landline, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. We've been talking about this cancel culture. And, it's just so absolutely ridiculous, but it is encompassing so much more that you're probably not hearing about. Number one, I am on the list right now is, of course, all the statues and all the monuments. They went after everything that was connected to the Civil War and possibly slavery. Okay, fine. Then they're going after some of the presidential statues. Then they started in on the churches, and they started in on the monuments, the Ten Commandments, statues of the Virgin Mary. Now they're coming after the Bible, saying it's hate speech. Along with that, some of the cancel culture that you might not be aware of, some of the name changes, they're even after the Texas Ranger baseball team. The professional Texas Rangers baseball team. And I sat there and I scratched my head and I said, what? Yeah, the cancel culture, with their idiotic, imbecilic attitudes, are saying, well, there were some bad people that did some bad things, and they became Texas Rangers. So, 150 years later, you have to change the name of your baseball team and eliminate the word Ranger. How about this? They're after the Atlanta Braves for their tomahawk chop. Oh, no. Oh, that's terrible. Why, you're going to hurt people's feelings by having the tomahawk chop. So they're after them. And many, many more. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Zeb, I want to change words here a little bit. I just come past that new grade school in Southwest Burley, and it's been going on to 3 years,
and that road has not been repaired or fixed. There's a big chuck hole in it, and I don't know how many people go to that school every day, especially when school is in session, and they have not done anything with that road for 3 years. It's the city of Burley. It's their responsibility. I don't know why they can't get off of their duff and do something.
Well, have you called them?
Yes, I have called, and it doesn't do any good.
Okay, what's been their response? Are they out of funding? Do they not have the manpower? Do they not have the time? What's their excuse?
They have never given me, well, probably the biggest thing is they don't have time.
Well, on a thoroughfare that goes in front of a school that could be hazardous to someone's health and or their vehicles, I would assume that time really is not a problem.
Well, I don't think it should be. I can't understand why they can't fix that. At least take a wheelbarrow full of dirt and put in that chuck hole.
Yeah, I know what you're speaking about. I know the circumstances, and I have hit that with my truck and my trailer, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Have a good day, Zeb.
All right, Bob, thank you. Yeah, some of the road conditions, and really, in fairness, I need to get somebody on, whether they're a city manager or whether it's county, whatever. We need to find out about some of these holes, some of these absolute ridiculous potholes and rises, if you will, in the pavement that absolutely will jar your teeth and knock your trailer right off the hitch. It's just a lot of things that are not being fixed or taken care of. I don't know if it's a budgetary problem. I don't know if it's time constraint problems, people problems, or whatever. But there's a lot of issues that need to be addressed. Okay. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget, today is tax day, July 15th. I'm not kidding. I was completely oblivious to it this morning, and early at 4 o'clock this morning they said, it's tax day, and I thought, oh man, am I glad I'm done. I would have forgot all about it. Hey, I know some great places. We're doing this a day early, and I'm going to explain why. Tomorrow, I'm not going to be here. Sharon Hardy is going to take care of the program, and I've got some doctor's appointments and everything that we've got to address and take care of, so I'm going to turn the program over to her. And normally on Thursdays, we have the segment called Starving to Death, but we're going to do it right now. And I want to remind you that, boy, some great places to go eat, like the AC Drive-In at 601 East Main in Burley. Oh, man, they got the kids' meals, and they got all the burgers, and they've got the famous Farmer Brown burger, my favorite, and, of course, the fries with a special sauce, and the lemon freezes, and the orange freezes, and all the shakes. Oh, boy. Really, really good at the AC Drive-In, open Monday through Saturday, 11 in the morning till 9 at night. And then don't forget to Taco Bandito at 2301 Overland in Burley. Oh my goodness, they're back to normal, and boy, what a great place to go for your morning coffee, and then maybe with that, have a breakfast burrito. Oh, delicious at Taco Bandito, along with the new pork burritos and the street tacos. Oh, you're going to love it. Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. Now, here's not one, but two locations of Burgers, etc. 124 South Oneida in Rupert and 700 Overland in Burley. My goodness, all the fish and the shrimp and the halibut baskets. Have one for the halibut. And don't forget, too, corn dogs and burritos, only $1.29. $1.29? Wow. Great people, nice people serving you with all the great menu choices at Burgers, etc. in Rupert and Burley. And last but not least, we go over to Steve-O's at 290 South, 600 west of Hayburn. Food made the way you love it. Oh, my. They've got steaks. Oh, have they got steaks. Thanks to the Double R Ranch for great steaks, and the patios open in the warm weather, live music on the weekends, and just phenomenal menu choices. You're going to love it. Great place for supper when you don't want to cook, with really nice people. Steve-O's, 290 South, 600 west of Heyburn. You stop into any one of these places when you're hungry and starving to death. And boy, am I. Oh, my, what have we got coming up for the rest of the hour? Next hour, we've got the Idaho Fish and Game. And I believe that Craig White is going to be here and talk about all the issues with the Fish and Game at midpoint of the year with the fishing, and then looking ahead to the hunting seasons and everything. Your calls are always welcome. Give us a jingle at 436-2244 or 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget that. I'm kind of stumbling around here for a minute because I had another public service announcement that I had put on my desk, and that's part of the problem. I lost it. So we'll take the call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Talk to me, caller, quickly. I've only got a minute.
Hi, Zeb. This is Mark Minton. I just heard your previous caller talking about a pothole out by the new school. Just drove both lanes. There's no pothole there.
Okay, well, it's been...
arrows, and if you get off the edge of the road, there's a little bump there, but there's no pothole.
Okay, well, I'm glad that everything's been rectified and A-OK, and I'm also appreciative of you calling in and saying so. Thank you, sir.
Yep, thanks, Zeb.
All right, take care. So the pothole is no longer a pothole. Okay. So, calls are welcome next hour when we have the Fish and Game on. Like I said, Craig White is going to be on, the regional supervisor. We will turn it over now to CBS News. I'll be back in 7 minutes. All right, here we go. Back to hour number 3. And in just a few moments, we are blessed with the presence in the studio for the first time in 6 months. Craig White, Fish and Game. It's been a long time.
That has been a long time.
Oh, my goodness, I'm looking forward to the visit. He comes in like the Lone Ranger this morning. Where did you tie your horse up, to my trailer?
Yep.
Okay.
Hey, I love the Lone Ranger growing up. I like that.
I enjoyed the Lone Ranger, but did you notice, I don't know if you know, I'll tell you that story in a minute. Right now, I got to tell everybody we're brought to you by your major sponsor, and that's Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations with a very safe, clean environment and the best in tires. Along with our friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Want to also remind everybody about our friends at Greystone Crossing Senior Living. If you have not seen this place, seniors, you need to call. Make an appointment for you to come in and take a look at it and maybe make that your new residence. It's a beautiful 12-bedroom home, and they furnish 3 meals a day, snacks, housekeeping, local transportation, everything right there for you, and spending the day with your friends at Greystone Crossing Senior Living. Call them, Matt and Kelly, for a tour of the place, 650-4979. That number again, 650-4979. Greystone Crossing Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Heyburn. Real quick note, too, 7K Metals. Don't forget you can help yourself build your own financial security and future with silver purchases. Contact, of course, my friends, Lon Hardy at 312-8699 or Sharon at 430-3259, and find out more about a saving opportunity for you and a valued treasure for your loved one with silver purchases from 7K Metals. Be sure and tell them I told you to call 7K Metals. Call it real fast. I'll take your call before I introduce Craig. What can I do for you?
Okay, this is Bob again. I would be happy to meet with that gentleman in front of the John V. Evans Grade School and show him a chuck hole.
Okay.
He evidently doesn't know.
All right, Bob. I appreciate it. You call him, make the arrangements. You two get together. Don't use me as a middle liaison, but I appreciate the call. Thank you. Right now, we're going to talk to Craig White. And Craig, a fan of the Lone Ranger, did you know, and for years you probably watched that opening sequence where Tonto and the Lone Ranger were running along the base of that cliff. Remember that? At the start of the show? And then the Lone Ranger goes up on a little bit of a rise and the horse rears up. Did you know they had to shoot and reshoot that opening because Silver was so doggone slow and Scout, Tonto's horse, kept beating him. And Tonto's sitting there really holding him back. So they had to refilm it quite a few times.
I never knew that.
It's a little bit of Western history. I've got a couple of books that go into Western history and television shows and everything, and they tell about some of the problems that they had in the filming of the various shows, and that was one of them. So I just thought I'd pass that along to you.
No, I appreciate that. That doesn't surprise me. What we see on the screen isn't always what happens in the making, right?
No, and what we see with the fishing game is always straight above board, right?
Well, I hope so, but...
Well, let's get right to it. Busy week, elk tags, what's going on?
Yeah, so... there was a change this year where the commission took action. For the last 4 or 5 years, it's been really hard to get a certain capped zone. So we have controlled hunts for elk, we have over-the-counter hunts, and we have over-the-counter hunts that are capped. And those over-the-counter hunts that are capped are only sold at a certain time, certain dates. Mm-hmm. And when they go on sale, they've become real popular, in particularly the sawtooth zone. So the commission's trying to figure out how are we going to, make this a little more equitable and maybe slow down the rush on these and make it more manageable. And one of the ways they decided to do that is anyone that put in for a controlled hunt could not purchase a capped hunt until 5 days after that sale date.
Okay.
So most of the capped hunts went on sale Friday. The exception is the sawtooth went on sale Monday. So 5 days after those capped hunts went on sale Friday, they became eligible. So if we do the math, that's today, and it became eligible at 10 o'clock. So if you didn't get a controlled hunt and you wanted to look at a capped hunt, and not just a general over-the-counter hunt, but a capped hunt, there are still some tags left, actually quite a few as of yesterday, but they did go on sale to all those who put in for a controlled hunt. Whether you drew or not, they're now available. The only zones, there's about 15 here, the only zones that aren't still available was the Diamond Creek A tag, and then of course the Sawtooth A and B tag sold out within 10 minutes on Monday.
Wow. Wow.
And we actually sell those, half of those in person, half of those online. But,
I see.
But in both instances, they were gone in 10 or 15 minutes. But anyways, if you're sitting out there, you're listening in, you're like, well, I can't get to Fish and Game right now. I want to explore getting one of those capped hunts that might still be available. That's all right. You can do it online, or you can call this number, 1-800-554-8685. Again,
Okay.
that's 1-800-554-8685. And you can look at getting a capped hunt. Some of these will sell out. Some of them may have been gone already by this morning because this was yesterday's numbers at the end of the day. But there are still some tags out there on a cap. And if you don't get that, hey, there are general over-the-counter opportunities.
I forgot to go and get my tag.
Well, they're still over-the-counter. Or we could break right now, and we could get on your computer and get you a tag.
Well, yeah, that would be great right in the middle of the program.
Yeah.
But anyway, well, let's go to the next issue then, and I hope I'm not jumping ahead too far, but you've got something here I'm not sure I understand. Sawtooth NRA issues a food storage order. What does that mean?
So up on the SRNA, for years, SNRA has had a lot of bears, mostly in the Stanley Basin. A lot of bears coming into campgrounds. They've really worked to try and improve what they provide campers as far as dumpsters and other stuff.
Yeah.
But that extends down into all the way down to Ketchum, and problems in campgrounds, and every year we're having to euthanize bears that become habituated to the garbage and to people's coolers.
Yeah.
You know, some of it's people problems, some of it's just not taking care of your food, you know, leaving it on the picnic table, taking it into your tent should never happen. That's a no-no. But
you might end up with an unwelcome visitor.
Yes, very much so. And so the SRNA decided to look at this. It's something we've encouraged, where they require proper food storage. It's not just recommended.
What is proper food storage?
Well, again, it's keeping your food in hard-sided, immovable objects like your vehicle, or if you have a camp trailer, you know, that's fine. Keeping it in there, just don't leave your doors open and keep your windows closed. If you are going to be at one of these spots and you don't have that situation, where you can put it somewhere in a hard-sided place, put it up in a tree. When I say that, you know, obviously get a blanket or something, a storage device that you put the food in, and then you hang it away from the tree. And there's, you know, recommendations. I think it's 6 or 10 feet or more, and 10 feet up.
Right. Okay.
They have a whole thing there. You can go onto their website. If you call us, we have some of the information. We're happy to share it too. Or the other thing is you can go online or go to some local outdoor stores. They do carry certified bear-resistant storage products, and there's a whole link there on what that looks like. If you contact the Forest Service, go to their website.
Oh, okay. Bear-resistant.
Yes.
I like that. Are they without a latch and without a corkscrew or whatever? I don't.
No, they do have a latch, but it's it's one that opposable thumbs and other stuff really has to use.
Okay.
They've actually
I don't mean to interrupt you, but some of the child-proof products adults can't get into, but kids can.
Well, yeah, that's probably what we're looking at, is the ones the adults can't get into, just the kids.
Right.
But they actually test these things. They do have bears in captivity, and they've tested even garbage cans, which is something we're really trying to work with the city of Ketchum on, is exploring these kind of bear-resistant garbage cans. Other communities use them. But even this other stuff like coolers and stuff that are bear-resistant, they test them. They put them out there with food and smells inside of them, and they see if bears can get into them, and if, and some of these things get really wailed on, but they hold up, and others, become a little Tonka village.
What about, and I'm jumping ahead here on you, and I don't mean to, I apologize, but raccoons are a nemesis and a problem, are they not?
Yeah, they can be, especially more in the urban or rural areas. They're pretty smart critters themselves.
Is there anything to do or not to do, or can't shoot or will shoot, or how do you get rid of them, or can you get rid of them?
Well, raccoons are classified in Idaho as a predatory species, so if you have a hunting license, it's pretty much 24/7.
We've got them right here, right here. And I assume, from what I've been reading lately, that we need to be very careful with the raccoons because of the rabies.
Well, it's always been a concern with rabies. Now, our vet, who since is retired, he always indicated to me that terrestrial, rabies, transmission of rabies by terrestrial animals really hasn't occurred much in Idaho, and it's a little bit overblown. The concern, though, is where we do have concerns is with bats. Bats have tested positive for rabies in the area.
Are they bats? And again, I'm interrupting you, and I apologize.
No,
but
that's all right.
Are the numbers as vast and important as they are in, say, portions of the Midwest?
When you say the numbers, do you mean as far as carrying the disease?
Not the carrying, but the actual numbers of bats. I mean, is there a way to gauge that? I mean, are we in a high-density bat number area?
So, not necessarily like right here as we sit here at your studio. We do have some hibernaculums that's where the bats usually gather for winter, and lots of them. We do have some in the area. We monitor those for health of the bat population. They are very important. And bats are very important, especially in an agricultural setting, and there are some around, the insect control and everything else. So yeah, bats are, and they're a mammal, right? So some of what we're finding is there's diseases that have really kind of impacted bats across the U.S., and then some of that's spreading west.
How do the bats, incur the disease that you have to really watch out for, though?
Well, it's interesting, like with COVID, I do know bat researchers are looking at the bat population, seeing if they're impacted. They do feel that bats, and I'm not a bat expert, but they do feel bats are more prone to the same type of viruses that humans get. And there could be actually transmission from bats to humans, more from contact. And that's the biggest concern with humans and bats, is just contacting and, touching the bat and then touching your eyes and your lips. Now, there is, bats can, rabid bats, that's the concern, is that they could potentially bite somebody, especially if they're acting abnormal, appearing in the daytime, kind of flopping around. Kid or adult goes, picks it up, and bat could bite you. Yeah. If that happens, you want to put the bat in a container and contact the South District Public Health, because you're probably going to want to get that bat tested if it bit you, or if any of its saliva got onto your hands, like especially an open wound or something like that. That's where that transmission, especially for rabies, is going to occur. Other viruses could be just like with humans, just touching them and interacting. But you don't typically get that from guano, bat poop, or just seeing a bat isn't going to give you a problem.
What would you suggest, and we're skipping here, and I apologize, but
that's all right.
What do you suggest that, I've got bats out in the barn, okay, and I've really told Deanne you got to be really careful this time of the year, the swooping and the dodging and the diving on people and everything. Is there a way that a person can help eliminate that environment that makes them want to live in that area?
A barn, especially with doors open, is going to be pretty tough. And when you asked earlier, or do we have a high presence of bats? Of course, every little barn or something like that around this area is going to have that. It's just there's not necessarily a lot of caves for kind of natural habitat. Yeah. So certainly in an agricultural setting, when I say, it's not going to be as high as elsewhere, that's kind of more of a natural setting, because homes with attics, bats will crawl up through the cracks. So it really does.
So it's really true bats in your belfry.
Yeah, exactly. And so you really do have to, routinely, once a year, probably get up on a ladder, check around your eaves, checks for cracks and other stuff that bats could get into, or an attic. Barns really tough, like I said, because we want our barn doors to kind of open and air out, and there's things like that. I don't know particular if there's certain things like with some birds, songbirds and other stuff, starlings, you can put up silhouettes of owls and other stuff, and that does help for a while. With bats, I would suspect light, keeping light on, and if there is a crevice where they kind of are roosting at night, put a temporary light up there would probably help, because that's going to make them uncomfortable.
Are they a mammal that relies upon high density of numbers of other bats to live in the same area?
They do in a hibernaculum, so that's the wintertime kind of, almost like a bear goes in a hibernation, bats do go and have a hibernaculum, and it's kind of a volume thing that a lot of the species that help them, and they could be, my understanding, multiple species even in those of bats. And those kind of hibernaculums, which also is what makes them susceptible if a virus or something is going through the population, because of the density. Right. They do need that, for heat and whatnot.
Are there other animals in the wild that are more susceptible to a rabid situation than others?
Well, yeah, we just named one, bats, because of the concentration of them at a certain time. Other species that are more solitary, like, say, mountain lions, not so much. That doesn't mean it won't happen, because they can get it off of prey that tends to be more congregating. Yeah. But things... that's why certain populations, especially of smaller fur bearers, coyotes, foxes, and that sort of stuff.
I've heard they're very susceptible.
They can be because they occur in a higher density on the landscape and more interaction.
And birds, can they transmit it if they eat or peck away at a carcass of a rabid animal?
No. Well, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I would suspect not. I think that transmission, first of all, I don't know that birds are susceptible to rabies. I think it's more of a situation with mammals, but I don't know that 100%. And then just overall physiology is different.
Okay. I apologize. I got way off on a tangent there.
No, it's actually pretty cool.
What about fishing? I still haven't had a chance to go fishing this year, and the summer's half over.
Well, you need to get out more, is the bottom line.
So we hear.
Yes.
So we hear.
Well, fortunately, you had Terry on last time, and isn't Terry great?
I like the guy, and I think that he's doing a really good job, and he's got a great personality, and so, I think the fishing game did well by hiring him.
Yeah, so Terry gave me a cheat sheet, and here's the answers to the fishing. Magic and Mormon is producing nice rainbows, so get out there, especially in a float tube or boat. Mm-hmm. You would enjoy a float tube, I
would. I would. I've done that.
It is.
I've done that. I got to admit that I did it in, let's say, controlled waters. I don't like to be, I don't know how you are, but ever since I was a little boy, I don't like to be in water where I can't see the bottom.
I'm the same way. I've always had a fear.
I'm a great swimmer. I was on the swimming team, but that's in a controlled environment where you could see the bottom of the pool.
See, I wasn't a great swimmer. I had ear problems, and swimming made it worse.
I qualified for the Junior Olympics. I was a good swimmer.
That is awesome.
No, I'm serious.
I know.
The people that laugh at me and they say, well, you say this and then you don't like to. I do not like to get in any water I can't see the bottom.
Yeah, well, I grew up, fishing small streams, love it. But you get me out on the ocean, I get nervous.
We went on a cruise, the last one we're ever going to be on, and you talk about not enjoying something. I didn't care for the cruise at all. Didn't like it.
My wife has thought about doing a cruise up through the Alaska little islands there. I might do that, but it makes me nervous thinking about the water.
But now, again, my tangents on that, but the fishing is good though, huh?
It's good on Magic and Mormon, but it's red hot. Smallmouth bass fishing is red hot on Salmon Falls Creek Reservoir right now. Yep, red hot. Silver Creek and the Big Wood are good too. Make sure you check the regulations because there are, size limits and whatnot. And, up there on the Big Wood, I don't know if your callers down here know this, but it has had a low flow year, like one of the lowest in 10 years. They didn't get much snow. Some of the recent rain in June helped, but boy, it's been a while since we've seen rain, in the last week or two.
You know what, now that you mention it, I can't remember when the last rainstorm was.
It's been a week.
It's been a long time.
Yeah. So, high mountain lakes are a great time to hit right now because it's cooler. We're talking mid-July. It's cooler up there.
Do you stock those at all?
Lake Cleveland. But a lot of the other ones we don't.
You don't?
No. There are some, but in other regions, I think there's a little more stocking activity on some of those, and it's not always every year. Some of them you kind of have to because they're so high up that you get winter freeze all the way through.
Let me stop you there because you're going to be talking next about with increasing water temperatures, and that's going to take more time, and I'm almost ready to go to a break at the bottom of the hour.
Sure.
And I want to really hit that because thanks to you and the Fishing Game, was not really that aware of the danger of that blue-green algae. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. Want to remind everybody about what's going on at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More with the Sunsational Flooring Event. 48 months, same as cash on approved credit. Listen, you can carpet your entire home, or you can put luxury vinyl for your entire home in 3 different price categories that are effective and very cost-effective for you. Check it out today. Carpeting, luxury vinyl, all of this at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. How do you find out more about it? You get a hold of Jeff and the rest of the crew at 459 Overland in Burley and talk to them about the Sunsational flooring event going on right now at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More, 459 Overland in Burley. Real quick, I want to remind everybody again, the Oakley Pioneer Days off and running. And boy, they've got a full week of activity. Tomorrow night, the big gymkhana, probably the biggest gymkhana in the state for contestants 16 years of age and under. Friday and Saturday, the open rodeo, fireworks. And then, of course, on Saturday, the Chuck Wagon breakfast and the Goose Creek runoff. And the world-famous Pioneer Day Parade on Saturday, starting a little later this year at 5 p.m. Don't forget, respect the past, embrace the future. All of this with the Oakley Pioneer Days for 2020. Don't forget, Oakley Pioneer Days in Oakley. Right now, we're going to send it back over to our main studio for a 3-minute break. We'll be right back.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is...
Oh, thank you very much and welcome back. And very, very fortunate to have with us in the studio Craig White, Regional Supervisor for the Idaho Fish and Game. Craig's a straight shooter and calls would be welcome if you have questions at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. We left a little bit ago, and we were going to talk about the blue algae. This is really something very dangerous, isn't it?
Yes, it can be. Particularly, letting your pets go swim in it. Obviously, you getting in the water.
So it does affect humans?
My understanding is it is. I'm not a public health, professional, but my understanding is that it can cause rashes and other stuff. That's my understanding.
Now, what about the ingesting of the algae? I mean, if you're swimming and all of a sudden, gloop, you swallow some of that.
Well, yeah, I don't think that's good. I doubt one gulp is going to do you in. But again, I'm not a public health specialist.
But it's really dangerous for dogs.
Yeah, that's my understanding. And I think part of that is just them swimming in it, and I suspect them, doing more than an accidental gulp.
Is it something that lasts for the entirety of the summer, or is it really kind of a warm temperature only type thing? What happens here?
Well, it is related to warm temperatures and kind of, I think, stagnation of the water, and that's why we see it a lot in kind of our southern reservoirs. When I say southern, southern part of the region, but it can also occur up north of the interstate too. But that's a pretty low reservoirs up there. And, the water by this time of the year, I mean, there's water flowing out, but it certainly is, it's water that's being compounded, into a reservoir, and we see the same thing over at Durkee's, lake, pond, whatever you want to call it, as well. And it's just kind of water that's not moving around much, and kind of gets there, and these blooms start. And the advisories for this are issued by the Department of Environmental Quality and the Department of Health and Welfare. Are the health professionals on it.
Yeah, well, it says here for fish consumption, and I want you to elaborate on that a little bit. I was just going to ask before reading that, if you're out there fishing and catch a fish and kind of drag it through there on the way to land the fish, how dangerous is it?
This is why we refer to the Department of Health and Welfare. It's more of at that point, it becomes more of a health issue. Is there an issue? And they do, our statements, and we're not trying to pass the buck, but the reality is it's not our expertise on health.
Sure.
And the reality is not much is known really on if it poses a risk to your health.
Really?
I suspect pulling a fish through it is not a problem, right? You can rinse that off, the exterior. It's the fact that their gills are sucking in that stuff all day long. Obviously, if they're right at the top and sucking in that, it's going to clog their gills and other stuff. So it's not so much, that they're getting a high concentration, but as it filters through the water, they're getting something, right?
Absolutely.
And to be honest, from everything that I know and have talked to, and our fish people have talked to and shared with me, it's a little bit unknown, the consequences. We know mercury in water gets consolidated in fish, condensed in fish, and it gets passed on, and that's why some waters with high mercury, there's a cautionary about eating the fish. We honestly don't know, and we refer people to the health and welfare folks, but at the same time, fish and other organisms are great filters of stuff, and this is one of those deals where the fishing is still great. Fish consumption, if I thoroughly wash the fish, thoroughly cook the fish, that's really some great precautions, and
okay. Good.
It's what you can do.
According to your notes, salmon fishing on the Upper Salmon River, how's it doing?
Well, again, actually, believe it or not, pretty well. Last week's catch rate was 1 fish every 31 hours. So this is fish kept. That sounds like a whole lot of fishing. Like you got to go 3 days before you catch a fish, and that's the average. But this is salmon. And before that, it was 50 hours per fish. And getting it down, 31's not great, but it's a whole lot better than 50. And
I got to ask you a question there, Craig.
Sure.
Pardon me for interrupting.
No.
When you take a lousy, absolutely terrible fisherman like I am, how can you possibly come up with a 1 fish per 31 hours? I might be there 31 days.
Yeah, well,
come on.
Zeb, I'm in the same boat as you. I don't consider myself a great fisher person. I like it, but I don't consider myself great. I can go out and people are catching fish all around me, and it's like I'm the bad person in the boat because
Bingo.
I can't bring one in.
Bingo.
But it seems like a lot of hours, and it's one reason that I sometimes think, this isn't just one day you run out and catch a fish. But some people do, and some catch multiple fish. It's the timing when the fish get moved up into that segment of the stream you like to fish, and if they're willing to bite, and that has to do with a variety of things, and it has to do with the right lure. And so salmon fishing to me is for someone a lot more talented than me. But I think it's awesome that we have it.
Absolutely. What about this next note about a gentleman that retired after 35 years? Tell us about that.
I will tell you about Joe. Before we leave the salmon fishing, let me do say that it'll probably go for at least one more weekend, meaning this weekend, and legal fishing hours are mostly on most segments right now, Friday through Sunday.
I see.
5:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. But so if you're going to go, get out. But let's talk about Joe. So Joe Chapman, he's a longtime hatchery manager, spent his career, 35 years with Fish and Game, working at 7 different hatcheries. Most recently was over here at the Hagerman hatchery that we have, Hagerman State Hatchery. And Joe, as folks that spend 35 years in a career, they become an icon. And I think for the hatchery system, and Joe in this area certainly is that. Joe is a very likable person, very helpful person, has helped over there at the Hagerman. They have, when we have free fishing day every July, the one Saturday of the year, we have an event over there, and Joe has been instrumental in that for years and really kind of front and center. But what people probably don't know is that through his 35-year career, Joe probably helped rear over 100 million fish.
Now you know what I'm going to say. Who counted them?
Well, believe it or not, I believe that record because we do keep track of how many fish go out of the hatchery, how many we start with, how many die, how many go out and get planted, and so there are records. I have not verified that though.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah. And that was a little bit self-reporting number, but 7 hatcheries, 35 years, I can believe it. There is a lot of fish every year that go out.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
And that's just remarkable to think about the number of opportunity that the kids and adults have over the years caught fish. Likely, especially if any of the areas that we stocked, likely you caught a fish at some point that Joe helped raise.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Well, I mean, 100 million fish. I can't even, in my old mind's eye, even envision 100 million fish.
Yeah. How many stacks of, is that? That's a lot. How many truckloads?
My.
Boy, I don't even know how to quantify it. It's so many.
Well, congratulations to Joe. And, hey, what about the bears? I just had a conversation here about 2 weeks ago, and somebody was telling me that, don't you think for a minute there's not bears up in the South Hills? There are. Are there? I've never seen or heard of a bear up there.
Every once in a while we'll get a report. I'm sure there's probably been a bear that's wandered into there, but there's not a population that we're aware of. There's not reproduction going on there. The South Hills, for the most part, have remained absent of a bear population. And
okay.
Like I said, that doesn't mean one.
But they're up there in the Wood River Valley.
They're up in the Wood River Valley. They're up north in Smoky Bennett's, any of those mountains to the north of us. And they even if they're not getting in the coolers. Or in the campgrounds or anything else causing problems, they're still using the same trails and roads that we are, and it's just alert.
It's got to be a little disconcerting for a couple on some mountain bikes that live in Boston, Massachusetts, and they round the bend, and there stands Grizzly Adams. I mean, it's got to be a little disconcerting.
Yeah, it is, and it's disconcerting for an Idahoan too, who hasn't spent much time around bears, and even if you have, it can be disconcerting.
And your verbiage that you've got here leads me to another question: non-aggressive bears. How does one know?
Well, they haven't tried to chew on you. That's pretty much how we've defined non-aggressive. Or they haven't walked up and, demanded your lunch money and taken your candy bar. But, there's Adams Goats Trail up there, kind of a popular one. There has been a non-aggressive bear seen several times, meaning a bear that's on the trail but has gone the other way from humans. And that's the way we like to keep it. When they start coming up and shaking you down for your lunch money, and that's when we get concerned.
Have hikers and backpackers, etc., have they kind of abetted the problem by feeding the bears?
Well, in this particular case, I don't think this bear is getting a food reward, or we'd see the shakedown. But it does become a problem, and that goes back to why the SNRA, has gone to this food order, right?
Yeah.
Is to try and minimize the opportunity for bears to get a reward at a campground.
Yeah.
And there's some distinctions there of campground versus, we do allow bear baiting for hunting bears, but that's we have some requirements of distances from roads and streams and campgrounds, and it's a single thing, and it's in the woods for a temporary period, and it's a designated spot, and honestly a bear that's frequenting those is probably getting removed, so they never become habituated, whereas at a campground they get associated with smells of humans, and they start to take that association because of just the volume of human smell and activity as associated with that food reward, and it does change what happens, and they become habituated.
Are you, as a fish and game specialist, if you're out in the wild, are you more concerned about the confrontation of a bear or a mountain lion?
So I have I have been the bear, lion, wolf, cougar kind of state specialist for the state in previous positions, and I've always said this: I don't really worry about bears or wolves. What I worry about is lions, because they're unpredictable. They're a cat, and they have some of the same characteristics you see of your house cat.
They're obnoxiously independent.
Yes, and very unpredictable. Any critter that gets habituated to humans, whether it's a food source or other stuff, whether it be a moose or an elk or a fox or a bear, it can become a problem. But for the most part, bears, particularly black bears and wolves, are going to maintain their distance as long as they haven't become habituated.
Are they, I've got to do a weather break here in just a second, but they being the cats, are their numbers increasing and more to worry about?
So cats are obligate predators. Their numbers go up as their prey numbers go up, and as the prey numbers go down, they will fluctuate down too. We've had increasing deer and elk populations for the most part over the last 10 years. Drainage specific, that may vary. So in some areas, yes, we believe cat numbers are up. And let me add this: if it comes down between them, I'm more worried about a mountain lion or grizzly. Grizzlies are different critters than black bears. Yeah. Yes, I would, put the grizzly bear probably right at the top. But
one of the things they always say is step away or make a lot of noise and remain calm.
Yeah.
Now, the remain calm to me is a complete oxymoron.
Yeah, that's like, I'm going to point a gun at you that's loaded and I'm going to pull the trigger, but you remain calm. No, I'm screaming, running.
Yeah, but you see, this is why I'm always afraid my friends want to take me up in the hills, is because I'm the slowest member of the group. I'm the last one to retreat.
Yeah. But at least you're popular.
Yeah, amen. I've got to get a weather forecast on here. Before we have the weather, I want to remind everybody about a fantastic restaurant, and that's Edith's Cafe at 144 East Highway 81 in Burley. Easy to find right across from the Burley Golf Course. And oh my goodness, what great menu choices over at Edith's Cafe. From the sandwiches all the way to the steaks, and they do catering. I mean, this is an eating heaven right there at Edith's Cafe. They're open Tuesday through Thursday, 11 to 8, Fridays and Saturdays, 11 to 9. I urge you to call your friends and neighbors, Aunt Martha, Uncle Fred, everybody, and enjoy a great meal, a delicious meal at Edith's Cafe, 144 East Highway 81 in Burley. Don't forget, too, our weather sponsor, Scarrows Meats at 331 North Road, Jerome, with Don Scarrow and the rest of the crew. Go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com, and check out all the delicious meats for all the events you've got coming up this summer. Wow, all the hams and all the different flavors of bacon and the tri-tips and the pork chops and the sausages and the bratwurst. Gotta have the bratwurst. All of this and more from Scarrows Meats, 324-7657. Right now, here's Gino with the weather.
It's going to be warming up over the next couple of days. Here's a look at your weather forecast for this Wednesday. We are expecting sunny skies and a high of 85. A little bit of a breeze, not too bad. Tonight, nice and clear with a low of 52. Tomorrow, nice and sunny. We are expecting a high of 91 with an overnight low of 60. 94 is what we're looking at for Friday. Then Saturday and Sunday, sunny skies and low 90s. That's a look at your weather for 7th Ranch.
Woo, going to be warm. Get the deodorant. Look out, you're going to need it. And the weather brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Again, go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com, or give them a call at 324-7657. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time at Scarrows Meats. I understand that there's going to be an urban wildlife show. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so Idaho Public Television approached us and others and said, hey, we understand that urban wildlife can cause some conflicts, and whether some of these species should even be in urban areas is been questioned. They asked us for some interviews. They got some film footage from us. They got some film footage for others, because they did a lot of this kind of through the start of the COVID outbreak, back in February and March. And they put together a show. I had a chance. They had an early viewing of it on Tuesday night. I had a chance to view that. I think they did a very good job.
What's the main thing they're trying to portray and tell the people?
Well, I think they've done a good job of just, asking the question of, we have wildlife in urban settings, particularly larger, carnivores, mountain lions, bears. We also get deer and other stuff. What is the impact? Is it good or bad? And, they go to different viewpoints. They even, just a little quick note, went to Maurice Hornacher. He's a renowned mountain lion researcher, as well as other big cats, and actually started in Idaho in the, back in the Middle Fork in the, I think, 60s and 70s with his research. And it was a very interesting take throughout the thing.
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty balanced approach to asking some questions.
We've got a caller with a comment. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air. Thank you.
Yeah, you were talking about the bear situation. I had a friend that had a family went camping in California, and they had a Chihuahua dog, and the bear came into camp. Little Chihuahua took after the bear. The bear took after the Chihuahua. The Chihuahua ran into the tent where the kids were. He had some newspaper there, and he lit it, and he came after the bear with a newspaper burning and backed the bear off. And I know another case where a bear lady tried to stop a bear with a pickup, and the bear beat the hood of her pickup in. These situations, I guess they must happen quite often. What is wrong with having a firecracker or a pack of firecrackers handy in case a bear comes into camp? Would a pack of firecrackers scare a bear off?
All right, we'll have him answer that on the air. Thank you very much. And by the way, you already gave one solution to the problem. Always take the Times News and then burn it.
So, yeah, I think loud noises would scare the animal away. Of course, if it gets in a situation like, the caller described of chasing the dog chasing it, I think sometimes, just like us, the brain wires get crossed and it gets one focus. But generally, loud noises do alert bears and do kind of cause them to avoid. My only concern with firecrackers, of course, is you're out camping July, and it's a good way to, light a grass fire that turns into a forest fire, and you don't want that. I thought the caller was going to say that the tent burned down when he went in with the paper, but I'm glad in that situation that apparently none of the kids were hurt. The thing we encourage is bear spray. It's pretty accessible. It's basically pepper spray. So even if it's not called, quote, bear spray, get some good pepper spray.
What is the range of pepper spray?
So the ones that they market for bears, I've used it, and it shoots out 15 to 20 feet. A big canister, and what you really want there, anyways, is not necessarily make contact. I mean, you don't want the bear that close when you start using it, right?
That's my first thought, yeah.
You want to actually spray it in a way that you kind of like in a little semicircle. They can't see, but you can see I'm moving my hands a little bit in the semicircle, and you're creating a cloud of pepper spray, and they've documented the bears kind of hit that. They got big noses for a reason, very olfactory. They hit that, and it just whoom, and it has caused bears to kind of break off charges. And
the key word there is has.
Yes, nothing's 100%, but nothing's 100%. And some of our callers are thinking, well, my Colt 45 is 100%. But and seriously, on a serious note, we've seen people shoot other people trying to stop a bear. But pepper spray will stop a bear just as usually as effectively, maybe more so, because what you got with a wounded bear is an enraged bear versus pepper spray, and it's less risk to your friend. He may get some pepper spray too, but personally, when I go backpacking, I carry both. But if I'm thinking, I'll put on both and carry both.
Is it in the pepper spray? And I got to do a commercial here real quick, but is it in a container that is readily accessible for nervous fingers and hands to get it to work?
Yeah, you do want to take some time ahead of time. You don't want it stuck in your backpack, right?
No.
You got to carry it. They usually have little pins and other stuff. You can carry it on the front of your backpack or even a holster on the side.
It would be around my neck.
Yes, and you just pull. It has a little. Usually, most of them have a little red clip. You just pull,
like a hand grenade,
and spray. Yep.
Okay, gotcha.
And the good news is you don't have to keep. You don't have to pull the trigger to get that clip back on. So it's not live until you pull the trigger.
Okay, gotcha. I'm going to go buy some. Don't forget our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Always, like I say, with a safe, clean environment and the best in tires. A lot of you folks are planning a vacation before the kids go back to school, hopefully. And don't forget, too, they've got all the tires, all the different tread designs for your car, pickup, SUV, horse trailer, boat trailers. Please stop in and talk to the people people that have majored in tireology. They know all about tires, all about the best tread designs that are going to befit your driving needs. So please stop in and see them today. Along with that, the best in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, but above all, the service to you. From your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, James and Buell, Dan on Pole Line in Twin Falls, Lane and Rupert, Mike and Jerome, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, the Twist family in Paul, and Trent on Overland in Burley. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Real quick, I got about a minute left, and Craig, anything else to end the program on this morning?
Hey, Zeb, it's great to be back with you.
It is.
If folks have any questions, they feel free to give the office a call.
I haven't done this for a long time, so help me out if I make a mistake. Number to call over at the Jerome office, 324-4359.
Yes, exactly, and thank you for doing that.
Yes, I had to get it in. Craig White, Regional Supervisor, thank you very much, and we're getting through and maintaining a rapport even through these troubled times. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
God bless. Well, turn the reins over to Sharon tomorrow. I've got some doctor's appointments to go to and take care of, and she's going to handle the program, and we're going to kind of play Welcome Back Sharon for her tomorrow, taking over the program. We always end the show by saying the way things were, the way things ought to be, and the 4 words that mean the most to us: in God we trust. God bless you. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you back here Monday at 8:06.